Hi everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this video we're continuing our Hawaii 2023 vlog series with an overview and planning guide to Disney's Aulani Resort in Hawaii. We stayed here for 7 nights as part of a longer trip to California and Hawaii, and we had an amazing time. We all agreed that this is now our favourite Disney resort, but because there's so much to do and pre-book, it's worth doing some planning ahead of time. We're going to try and give you an overview of everything that's on offer and a bit of a download of everything we learned through our planning, including information on the pools, beaches, activities, dining, shopping, the kids club, characters and more. Then in the following few videos in the series, we'll talk through how we spent our time and what we got up to on Oahu and give a full picture of the week. So to begin with, Alani sits on the southwest corner of the island of Oahu in Ko'olina. This is the leeward side of the island, which means the side sheltered from the wind or the drier side of the island. The east side is often referred to as the windward side and takes the brunt of the weather. Ko'olina is basically a small upscale resort area where Alani sits directly next to the Four Seasons with a Marriott a little further along the coast. It's about 30 minutes from Honolulu Airport or about 40 minutes from Waikiki Beach, and it's within an hour's drive of anywhere on the island. So although it's tucked away in the corner of the island, it's still really easy to get around and explore everything Oahu has to offer. The Ko'olina area consists of 3 man-made lagoons which the resorts have been built around, as well as a marina, a golf course and a shopping and dining area. It's designed to meet your every want. It has its own security gate at the entrance and is a lovely part of the island to stay and relax in. Alani sits in front of the first lagoon, sharing this with the smaller Four Seasons resort. It's a truly beautiful resort and a wonderful place to spend a vacation, but it's surprisingly easy to get around and explore. The guest rooms are situated in several towers which are arranged in a horseshoe shape around the pool area which stretches down to the beach and the lagoon. Valet parking and check-in are at the top of the resort, and in this area you'll also find the Makahiki restaurant, shops, the Pauhana room which I'll explain later on, the DVC centre and the Enterprise car rental desk. The central pool area is probably where you'll spend a lot of your time here, and it has several other dining options, many pools, a lazy river, slides, splash areas, a fire pit and gardens. Behind one of the towers to the left is the Halawai lawn, which is where various events are held such as the luau, DVC events and character meet and greets. Down on the beach there are free lounges, more dining options and equipment rental. Then finally, back out front, you've got a multi-storey car park if you've rented a car, and it's also just a short walk out of the front of the hotel to all the other things on offer in Ko'olina. We'll look now at some of these aspects in more detail. Firstly, I'll touch on booking a stay at Alani and our room. We're fortunate enough to be members of the Disney Vacation Club, and as Alani is a DVC resort, it's much easier to stay here if you're DVC members. It's a really popular resort, so make sure to plan ahead and book as soon as you can. We booked on the first day of our booking window 7 months out and were able to get a deluxe studio with an island gardens view. There were other options available, but this was as far as we could stretch our points this time. You can also pay to stay at Alani with a cash stay. I don't have an idea of the costs, but I've been told it can be really pricey, so make sure to check that out directly yourselves. The room itself was lovely, with a decent sized balcony overlooking the gardens at the back of the tower. There was a double bed and then a sofa bed which did the job, a lovely bathroom, and it was nice and cool and quiet despite it being an adjoining room, so everything you need to have a really relaxing stay. We were on the 2nd floor, a short walk away from the lobby, so everything was really accessible and we were really pleased with our stay. We were also able to tour around a showroom, which was a 2-bedroom villa, and this was amazing and would be great if you were wanting to fit in more people or even just have a bit more space. Once you've got your room booked, make sure then to check back periodically to book your activities before you arrive. There's so much to do at Alani, but a lot of the activities do book up and they're released at different points in time, so you need to know what you're doing to get your reservations sorted. I'll talk through these a little bit more now, but in summary, you've got the spa and Auntie's beach house, which is the kids club, reservations which are released around 90 days or 3 months in advance. Then you've got dining reservations and general activities such as stargazing, ukulele lessons, etc., which are released at 30 days or a month in advance. Make sure to check this out on the website and work out your exact dates, as we didn't find this whole process very clear with us being new to the resort. For example, we weren't aware of the 90-day window for Auntie's beach house, so some time slots had already booked up by the time we had a look. Then some of the dining reservations and activities book up incredibly fast. For example, the character breakfast at Makahiki booked up in minutes, as did the Thingamabobs activity, which I'll explain later, and the stargazing slots. So make sure you're on the ball with all of this. Everything can be booked through the app, or if you're from the UK where the app isn't available, you can just book it online using their website. Just use the activities section of the website and you'll find the booking links under dining, spa, Auntie's beach house and the Pauhana room pages. The weekly activity schedule is shown in what's called the Daily Iwa, and this shows the daily activity schedule for that week up to 7 days in advance. You can find this on the app or on the website, and it's updated a day at a time, so you can only ever see 7 days in advance. This can be tricky if, like us, you're wanting to plan out a whole week, but you can't see what activities are on which days, as they do change the schedule week to week. As an example, we wanted to do stargazing later in the week when we were over the jet lag, so we didn't book a slot earlier in the week, but then found out that they weren't running any stargazing sessions later on in the week, by which time all of the earlier slots had already fully booked up. So be prepared to be flexible and book as soon as you can. Some activities such as ukulele lessons and make your own Mickey ears have loads of sessions and don't tend to book up so quickly, so regardless, there'll be plenty to do to enjoy during your stay. Moving on to look at some of the activities you can book. Firstly, you'll need to know what the Pauhana room is. This is basically the activity centre, which is where a lot of the activities take place, or where you can book or amend any reservations, so it's a really handy place to know. This is where things like make your own Mickey ears and t-shirt stamping take place for an extra fee. We decided against these this time to save a bit of money, but they do look like a lot of fun. One of the other popular activities is the ukulele lessons, which take place down in the back of Auntie's beach house. These are free and run multiple times a day and are a must-do if you're staying at the resort. It's just a short 30-minute introductory session to playing the ukulele, and it was one of the best things we did. So much so that we ended up buying 2 ukuleles to bring home with Eva and Finley. Another activity we booked was Thingamabobs and Mermaid's Tale. This is another free activity, 30 minutes down on the beach. These only run a few times a week and they do book up. Basically, it's a family activity where you bury one of the family and dress them up as a mermaid in the sand. It's a lot of fun, probably aimed at slightly younger children, and it was really easy to do alongside a morning on the beach as we did. Looking at stargazing, This was one of the main activities we wanted to do, and as I mentioned, we messed up our chance to book. Fortunately though, we were able to find the company who run these, Stars Above Hawaii, also run sessions over at the Four Seasons next door the rest of the week. We were able to book this independently so we didn't miss out. This can be booked through Viator on the link in the description below, or directly through their website for around $180 for a family of 4. The sessions are usually located on the rooftop tennis courts of the Four Seasons and last around an hour. We were in a group of maybe 20 people and it was a fascinating session, learning all about the constellations and the different stars and planets. Greg, not Paradise Falls family Greg, but the owner of the stargazing business, who was running our session, was really enthusiastic and engaging and made sure everybody got a chance to look through the telescope at each star. We got to see Saturn and its rings, several different far-off stars, different constellations including Maui's fishhook, satellites moving across the sky, and even a few shooting stars as well. The kids were pretty tired due to the jet lag, but still thought it was really cool, so we'd really recommend booking either through Alani or directly with Stars Above Hawaii. Another activity we really wanted to try was the fire pit storytelling. This is also free and you don't have to book in advance. Unfortunately, we tried to do this twice and both times nobody showed up, and it turned out it had been cancelled, but they'd not given any warning or updated the activity schedule, so we can't really say a lot about it, which is disappointing, but it does look a lot of fun on the other vlogs we've seen when it does go ahead. The last activity I'll mention here is the Menahoon Adventure Trail. This is another free one that doesn't require any booking. You basically go to the Pauhana room between around 10 AM and 7 PM and rent an iPad. You can follow the instructions to follow a trail around the resort to various different interactive spots. This looked brilliant and we started it, but found it was just too hot to be trekking around the resort in the heat, so we just gave up. Our tip would be to definitely give this a try, but do it later in the day when it's a little bit cooler, and I think some of the spots even light up in the dark, which would be really cool. There's loads of other things that you can get involved in that I've not mentioned as well, such as animation classes, pin trading, hair braiding, character pool parties and movie nights, but hopefully I've covered off some of the main activities already. One which stands out that I haven't mentioned is the spa, which looks absolutely amazing. They also offer kids treatments there as well. We briefly considered it but decided we just didn't have time. I've also not mentioned the luau, which Disney runs several evenings each week. We decided against this as it was on the expensive side, and we opted for the luau at Paradise Cove just down the road, which I'll talk about in a separate vlog, but it's a good option if you'd prefer luau with a Disney twist to it. There's just so much happening at Alani that there'll inevitably be things that I've forgotten to mention, so I'd encourage you to visit the activities section of the website before you go and check everything out and plan how you'd like to spend your time there. Moving on to character meets, as there are a range of characters that you can meet throughout the resort. These are also featured on the daily Iwa, but the schedule for these is only released on the day at around 9 AM. This does make it difficult to plan if you're particularly bothered about meeting certain characters, and some are harder to see than others. For example, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Pluto, Goofy, Chip and Dale all meet fairly regularly on most days. Then you have Moana and Stitch, who also pop up on maybe around 4 or 5 days of the week. Duffy Bear, Shelley May, Olu Mel and Max then maybe meet about once or twice a week, and Angel we only found to meet once a week when we were there, and she was actually the only character who we didn't get to see. Characters tend to meet in and around the gardens and the walking trails near the pool area, as well as on the Halloween lawn, and they can have pretty big lines for some of the more popular characters. The majority of them also have a PhotoPass photographer there to take professional pictures if this is something that you want, but they're always more than happy to take family photos on your own camera too. Outside of these daily meets, there are also a few other opportunities to meet the characters. For example, Moana has a couple of extra scheduled meet and greets during the week at various DVC events. And at the end of the DVC celebration party, which is held once a week, you have the opportunity to meet a range of characters. Then there's the character breakfast at Makahiki, which I'll talk through in a moment, and the various character meets which take place in Auntie's beach house throughout the week. You also have the character dance pool parties as well, which were really busy but so much fun. In the shops you've of course got the usual autograph books as you do in all of the Disney parks, but we noticed a lot of people were asking the characters to sign wooden surfboards. We asked around and were told that you could pick these up at the ABC store over the road from the resort, so we grabbed a few of these and they make great souvenirs. You can also order similar items online at places like Etsy in advance if you prefer something a little bit different. I've mentioned dining a few times now, so let's look at this in more detail. You've got a range of options at Alani. We did find that eating in the resort was pretty expensive compared to elsewhere on the island, but it's hard to avoid if you're wanting to relax around the resort, so maybe just prepare yourself for this. In terms of sit-down restaurants, you've got Makahiki in the main building and Ama Ama down by the beach. We looked at these but decided with our kids being relatively young, it just wasn't worth it for us, except for the character breakfast which is held each morning at Makahiki. This gives you a 3-course breakfast and came to around $200 for the 4 of us, so not cheap but probably on a par with similar meals in the parks. In terms of the characters, we met Mickey, Minnie, Chip and Dale. Walking past throughout the week, we noticed it tended to be Mickey plus 3 other characters, and we spotted Max, Stitch, Goofy and Pluto in there at various points during the week. Overall, we had a lovely breakfast. We really enjoyed seeing the characters and we're really glad that we did it while we were here despite the cost. As I've mentioned, it does book up really fast, so be on the ball if you're looking to book this one. Moving on to other options, you've got Off the Hook, which is a mid-range sit-down restaurant by the pools, and we enjoyed eating here several times. You can also order from this menu from your sun lounger on the beach or around the pool, as servers will walk around to pick up orders. Then there's Ulu Cafe, which is a takeaway cafe as well as a marketplace, so it's a good option for picking up bits and pieces for the room. And finally, there are numerous other pool and beach bars and snack spots dotted around. One of our favourites was Papalua Shave Ice, where you pick up your Mickey-shaped shave ice for only a few dollars. If you want something a bit different outside of the resort, you can always then pop over the road to the Koalina Centre, which is where there is a monkey pod restaurant and eggs and things, to name but a few. This centre is really handy and literally less than a 5-minute walk from the lobby, so make sure to give it a try. Moving on to shopping, you've got a couple of shops located just off the lobby area, selling a wide range of Alani merchandise, and we spent a fortune in here and brought home ukuleles for the kids and Christmas decorations among other things. Don't forget to get your DVC discount if you're a DVC member. Around the corner you've got a slightly more upscale store selling clothing and a few other different bits and pieces, so this is worth checking out in the hotel as well. If you want anything further, then you're best off popping over the road to the Koalina Centre, which has the ABC store, Coco Nene and lots of other stores where you can pick up some really cool and different unique souvenirs. Next up, let's look at Auntie's Beach House, which I've already mentioned a few times. This is Alani's kids club and operates slightly different to say those on Disney Cruise Line, for example. You're not able to come and go as you please, and instead they have several timed slots throughout the day. To use these you need a reservation, and these can be made up to 90 days in advance for free. But they also offer several paid for additional sessions throughout the week, each with a different theme and usually involving character meets. We decided against booking any of these, and although we had a couple of free slots booked, we didn't end up using these as the kids just wanted to play on the beach instead. If you know that you're not going to use your slots, try and drop into the Pauhana room to cancel them. In that case, somebody else can use your slot as a walk-up. We heard lots of unhappy people that they were unable to use the kids club, as they hadn't realised reservations were required and these were fully booked ahead of time, especially over the busy summer months. As this is a DVC resort, let's have a quick look at the DVC benefits and events. There are several bits and pieces to take advantage of throughout the week. Number one has to be the DVC member event, held one night a week. This is held on the Hawaii lawn and lasts a couple of hours. There's a bit of music and dancing with various Disney characters, some Disney trivia and the usual Disney plug to purchase more DVC points, but it's great fun and we had a blast. We were each given a lei on arrival, as well as some free DVC magnets which will come in really handy for our next cruise on our stateroom door. Then at the end of the night you're free to meet all of the characters from the show, which is loads of fun, and for us it featured Mickey, Pluto, Chip and Dale, Stitch and Moana. Elsewhere there are a couple of Moana DVC meet and greets throughout the week, and for kids they run a little activity to do throughout the week where you stop by the DVC desk each day to learn a new Hawaiian word, and at the end of the week you get a free gift. In our case it was some more magnets and some DVC drink coasters, which were really lovely, so make sure to stop by here when you stay. Now moving on to the pools and beach, which is probably where you'll be spending most of your time here. Starting with the pools, you've got several dotted throughout the resort. The main one is the Waikolohe pool, which is zero entry and features one of the water slides. However, our favourite was the Kamaka Grotto, as the infinity edge looking out over the beach and lagoon was just amazing. We also found it slightly warmer as well, which we preferred. Then you've got the Wailana pool, which is behind one of the towers and we didn't even get to on our time there. Off behind the main pools is also the lazy river, called the Waikolohe Stream, and this is an absolute blast and also features the second water slide at the resort. Nearby here is the Menehune Bridge and Kiki Cove Splash Pool for the little ones. And then finally you've got Rainbow Reef, which was Greg's favourite. This is a simulated reef filled with hundreds of tropical fish where you can snorkel for an extra fee between 10 AM and 4 PM each day. A word of warning though, the water is icy cold, which the kids weren't fans of, but it was so much fun and a great way to get used to snorkelling if you're new to it like us, as the fee includes the snorkel gear as well. The cost for this was $25 per adult or $20 per child, so it's not cheap, but if you love it you can upgrade to a week pass for $45 per adult or $35 per child, which offers much better value. You can come and go as you don't have to make a reservation for this, so it's an easy one that you don't have to plan for. The system they've got in place for access to the pool and other activities works really well. Each day you go to one of several booths set up around the pool with your room key to get your coloured wristbands for the day. DVC members get special sparkly ones. These are required to use the pool and make sure everybody using the hotel facilities is a guest. You can then get your towels for the day and your band allows you to keep getting more as and when you need them. In theory, there's a strict policy in place to try and make sure people don't reserve pool lounges when they don't need them, and items will be removed after an hour if not used. But in practice, we didn't see this policed much, and it was quite hard to get a lounger around the pool at most points in the day. So if this is important to you, then get to the pool for opening at 8 AM. In addition to all of this, you've then got the beach at the Ko'olina Lagoons. This was the kids' favourite part of the resort, and we surprised ourselves with just how much time we spent here. The lounges are free and plentiful, which is a major plus as it was a real battle to get a sun lounger by the pool. The water is calm, the sand is lovely and soft, and it's a great beach for young families. Our kids especially loved the free boogie boards, which you can borrow from the equipment stand, and if you're interested you can pay to paddleboard too. Something we were going to do but just never got around to it. The lagoons are so lovely and calm and a safe place for kids to play and swim, and we found ourselves coming back to the beach again and again throughout the week. Further up the coast, just a 5-minute walk along the path, past the Four Seasons, is also what's known as the Secret Beach. This isn't part of Alani, but is another little secluded cove where you can often see seals and turtles, so it's worth a stop while you're here. The water is pretty rough here though, and the beach is often roped off if seals are present, but it's a great chance to spot some of the local wildlife. With all of that on offer, you could easily fill a week just staying in the resort. However, there's so much to do on Oahu for families that we really recommend getting out and about. Alani does offer various excursions which can be booked through their concierge. However, we always prefer renting a car and getting out on our own where we can. Fortunately, this is really easy at Alani, as Enterprise Car Rental have a station within the hotel itself. We pre-booked a car as they do sell out, and we were able to stop by the desk and pick up the car from the valet. We were also able to drop it back off out of hours at the valet, so it was by far the easiest car rental we've ever done. And that brings this vlog on this gorgeous resort to a close. If there's anything at all you think I've missed, or if you have any questions or comments, then please let me know in the comments below. We really hope this vlog was useful in helping you plan your own visit. In the next 2 vlogs in this series, I'll talk more about what we actually got up to during our week at Alani, both within and outside of the resort, so make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss those, and thank you all again so much for watching.